What the heck is a Yieldster? And welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. Hit that subscribe button, and if you're not already getting notifications, click the bell icon. If you haven't subscribed, obviously it's free. Costs you nothing. I was just joking. I know who Yieldster is. Do you? Because this is a sponsored review. Thank you, Yieldster team, for allowing me to carve out this extra amount of my time by sponsoring this episode. Really appreciate that. I need to let you know, audience, that this is not intended as an inducement to buy, and I am not your financial advisor, right? Do I have to give you the red screen? Yeah, I do. I don't offer legal or financial advice. I'm not a Series 7 advisor. I don't have a Series 65, and you haven't retained me either way. So just thanks for playing the game, guys. That's part of it. But that said, let's take a look at the Yieldster platform. Yieldster.io is the website, and this is the homepage. They let us know pretty quickly from the homepage, right above the fold, kind of what the main features are: an order balancer, an SDK, which we're going to talk about a little more in depth, and then an automation platform that they have hosted on the cloud. It's straightforward, right? Letting you know these are the three value propositions. Now, running the risk of just looking like I'm reading the website, guys. My point is, it's well laid out for you to find what you need to find in order to do your due diligence before you seriously consider either getting financial exposure to the Yieldster.io platform, or if you're a developer, deciding that you want to use it to build some of your own products or to enhance some of the products that you already have in development. It's a pretty deep tech stack, actually. I've really been impressed as I've been able to take a closer look at it. So let's do a slightly deeper dive some of those areas. But let's start with the About Us page. I think that when it comes to this sort of thing, where you've got a bit of hybrid cloud going on, because there is some blockchain interfacing components of their cloud stack, of their tech stack, and there's also some just kind of like we'll just call it general cloud tech, right? Where you're able to use their tech stack to then be able to run some of your own transactions onto various different blockchains, as well as running across multiple blockchains simultaneously. But when you look at that sort of a tech stack, you have to ask, who's making this? Who am I entrusting at this point, right? Before I do my audits or whatever else, who's actually in charge of this thing? Who has been putting in the work? In my opinion, they need to be vetted. This needs to be a team when you're looking at anybody that has a hybrid product like this that uses, air quotes, traditional cloud. I can't believe I'm saying that, guys. 10 years ago, that would have sounded like a crazy thing to say, right? Traditional cloud. But when you're looking at a team that's using traditional cloud to then tie into blockchain, you do need to know who these people are, and you need to know that they've got a track record. In my opinion, that's actually pretty high on the list of things to know. So the About Us page is where I'm going to start, and then take a look. It's a DAO. That's the first and foremost. The top thing is that it's structured as a DAO, and it is owned and controlled by the stakeholders, by the contributors. People who are actually actively involved are the ones who are controlling the ultimate roadmap and destiny of Yieldster, right? It's going to develop in the direction that people who are willing to put in the work help it develop. It makes sense, right? That's the way that DAOs are supposed to run. So that is how they've structured it. And it makes so much more sense to me. Instead of having just like, hey, we're, a little cash grab. Who wants to, drop in 8 figures? We'll let you have the biggest say. I mean, you do need to get funding, but then you also need people to build. So I love that that's the direction they chose to go up front, especially because they do have a tech stack that is designed for developers. So you would need developer input along the way. So pretty awesome to talk about it being sweat equity. There is a CEO, though. They do have a quasi-traditional structure as well, because when diplomacy fails, right, when decentralized governance structures fail or are potentially compromised, I'm just going to say from my own experience, seeing voting potentially be compromised on some blockchains, or seeing whale wallets or multiple wallets owned by whales jump in and potentially try to be abusive for certain structures, it is important to have a team that says, yeah, I am the one who approved that pull request, or I am the one who put this on the roadmap, and now I'm submitting it for a vote from the DAO, instead of it being the other way around, right? Like just crowdsourcing all the ideas, but actually having intelligent and seasoned people at the helm who make themselves accountable to the community. Make sense? That's the way I view it anyway. And it looks like that's where they've got it structured. They've got Amin El-Ghazar, who is a seasoned professional in tech with several successful exits, several businesses that he's helped create internationally with various different teams across various different verticals. And then across the board, you see the team here, guys. My point is they're not hidden. They're not like anonymous. The management team as well, and then a leadership council, which they've been using to form the basis of semi-regular meetups every 6 to 8 weeks, where these people are not just, they're not just talking in public forums, say like on Twitter or in the Telegram or whatever else. They're actually convening proper councils every 6 to 8 weeks to make sure that there's some kind of cohesive direction that is that's being pursued by at the head of this group while the DAO grows in decentralization. So that's a pretty cool thing, I think. The advisors and a lot of the group here, you see some young legal talent, but then you do see a lot of, I'm just going to call them seasoned faces and maybe one or two gray hairs. I'm a little biased, guys. I've got that bias. I trust people who are a little bit more seasoned in leadership and when it comes to tech development. It's not that I have an anti-youth bias. I don't, but there are some things that you can't put into a pill, and there's some things that you can't short circuit. One of them is years upon years or decades of business experience or of development experience. And so it's great to see that a large roster like this has people who are obviously experienced. So anyway, that's kind of like my little spiel here. They call that little meetup that they do every 6 to 8 weeks the Yieldster Community Leadership Council. It is an invitation-only leadership council, and they are making this kind of, it's a little more exclusive, but then this goes back to the DAO for the broader decentralized community to vote on any missives or initiatives that come out of these groups, but also people brought into it to potentially then gain and be upskilled in their leadership ability or in their development ability, and then brought in through the ranks of the DAO to then form the basis of additional leadership. It's a pretty obvious mentoring play. And again, it's very well established across many other businesses to have internal mentoring so that you can identify talent and work with that talent to become the next generation of leaders for an organization. It's pretty brilliant, guys. Just is. This stuff works. It's proven in other businesses. So you love to see it. The investor group as well. These are names that you know. It's not a shock, right? When you've got so much structure and direction to a group like this that you attract smart money. So there's smart money involved as well. Not that that's like the most important thing, but it is a key indicator, right? So that's the About Us page. Whew. All right, let me slow down a little bit. We're moving really fast. Do you have questions so far? If you do, ask me in the comments section. Like, hey, Seth, this is really cool and all, but I read this about this group, or I read that about this group, or I did a little more digging on this side of the leadership, and I feel some kind of way. Tell me, guys. Talk back to me. And obviously, if you haven't already shared this video, I want you to share it with somebody who's looking for any way to extend the yield of their portfolio during a crabbing sideways market. We've gone on, at the time of recording, well over a month with pretty low levels on the fear and greed index. Sentiment is kind of in the dumps right now, and most people's portfolios are not as flush as they could be. So this is the perfect time for us to be evaluating platforms just like this. I want you to share this with somebody who might need to learn about new platforms. If we don't learn, we don't grow, right? And that's precisely why I took up Yieldster on the opportunity to talk about their platform and to do a deeper dive myself. Again, this is not meant to be a conversation ender with my video here, where it's a comprehensive, full deep dive. It's meant to be a conversation starter. So I want you to extend that conversation to your friends, right? Share this video. All right, so that's about the team. We got the automation platform itself. But the automation platform is a very in-depth thing. Frankly, I could spend the rest of the video just talking about the automation platform, not talking about the SDK. And so I'm thinking, now that I think about it, like I'm going to just like do this real time. Why don't I jump over to the SDK first and come back to this? We'll end on this because this is so much more in-depth and I don't want you to miss a thing. So again, smash like. Be subscribed if you're not already, guys. Why all the calls to action? Because every click counts. So I appreciate you guys being supportive, as you have been over the years, of the Mind Your Biz channel. Thanks for that. All right, guys, the SDK page shows us a lot about it. The key takeaways that I want to impart to the Mind Your Biz community are that it's not just that it's easy and precise transactions, all the bullet points you see here, but the fact that it's Web3 programming with Python. They have it right there, right in big, bold letters. There is a closed beta for you to start with their SDK if you are so inclined. If there's something that you're working on that you could potentially extend with their SDK, or that you see the opportunity to extend with their SDK. And what I'm just going to say is that people who are familiar with working with data structures in more complex ways as programmers, well, I mean, Python is not the most efficient programming language out there. I say this as a non-developer, but somebody who speaks with developers a lot. Not the most efficient programming language out there, as I understand it, but it's used because of its general usefulness, its general purpose usefulness. So a lot of people know how to use it if they worked with data structures before in some like more advanced or some kind of esoteric, unique way. They've probably had to seek out some kind of a Python library that deals with data in a very unique way. So to see a group like this say like, oh, well, obviously Python is the go-to choice. Like, we're going to make an SDK that lets people work with on-chain data in our own tech stack by using Python. Like, thank you. Everybody's otherwise forced to learn Solidity, which apparently as soon as you become an expert, like there's a need for that. Or they say like, well, we're going to attract development talent by, having this be in Go, or, or we're going to build our blockchain in Rust. And it's like, it's cool. It's shiny object syndrome though. Like a lot of great developers use Python, not because it's the best or the newest, but because it just works. So kudos to the team for making that choice. I wanted to throw that out there as well. If you're interested because you're a developer, check that out and maybe apply, maybe see if there's a fit for you. The platform holds and manages assets. It's got an order balancer that gives sort of the best order execution, and then an open source SDK, as we looked at before, to create capital deployment strategies, which of course you can do for your own organization, or if you are building a product and you want to be able to make it that much more powerful using their SDK. All these functions are a hybrid, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, a hybrid of on-chain and off-chain tech components, right? Tech stack that's fully automated and secured in a back-end service provided by Yieldster. That's where the private cloud component comes in, or the private SDK component comes in. This is something that they're doing to add value. And but the Yieldster team, they are, as you saw before, the roster is stacked with technologists, financial experts, and they just got between them, they've got this wealth of knowledge between not just the finance side and understanding, okay, this is how you would prioritize order execution and why you would prioritize order execution in a certain way. This is how you would optimize for a certain desired outcome in terms of yield for the individual or for a smaller subgroup, and how you can create incentives that don't completely crush, right, the retail participant in our ecosystems and in our order books. They've got some of the game theory experts, but they also have the development talent on board to help make that real. And I mean, thankfully, guys, in 2022, we've got so much great tech to build on top of as well. The AMMs and some of the order balancers that already exist in the open source for teams like this to build with and build on top of. It's never been better to be involved in DeFi, and these guys are making it that much more sweet. They offer tools and protocols for participation in DeFi in a safe and compliant way. That's one of the biggest drives, I think, of Yieldster, is for this group to help developers and to help investors be prepared for future regulation, not to be taken off guard and blacklisted, right, by like seemingly randomly, by the SEC or by some other group in the United States saying, well, we just kind of decided all of a sudden that these particular areas here, I mean, we saw this recently with Luna and UST, that these particular groups over here, that they're very dangerous, and we are now banning retail participation, right? So it's pretty cool that these guys are thinking ahead of that. All right, I've gone through a few areas of the Yieldster platform. I've showed you a little bit about the automation platform itself, a little bit about the SDK, a bit about the team, a little more about the team, frankly. And I want you to tell me in the comments. Now I've gone through a little bit more. What do you think about Yieldster? Would you be interested in owning some of their governance token? Would you be interested in participating in their DAO? Would you be interested in using their SDK? Those are my big questions for you, but tell me in the comments, guys. And again, if you know somebody who might be interested in those things, share this video with them. All right, guys, thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. You're the reason I make this media. Remember, I love your face. Stay private and mind your biz. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. Remember to check out mineyour.biz, where you can sign up for Mine Your Biz Insiders, our occasional newsletter where we don't spam you, but we do send out occasional important information, including flash sales and important deals on privacy-preserving technology. This is one of the ways that we can talk to you without censorship and without the oversight of third-party media platforms. You can also check out the new Mine Your Biz phone, as well as merch, or sign up to become an affiliate for anything sold directly on the mineyour.biz website. You can earn a percentage of anything that we sell. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz.